Hello and welcome to The Birth of a New Dimension. In order to prepare for this new dimension that we are giving birth to, it might be necessary for you to learn some math. But don't worry, because it's all going to be fun and interesting. So, welcome. My name is Aurora. I'm your host for this radio show, and I'm also a galactic walk-in. And I'm also a visionary artist. When I say visionary, I mean I literally paint and draw and sculpt what I see with my inner vision. And in terms of defining galactic walk-in, I am an extraterrestrial or non-earthly abstract presence that has come and inhabited this human female form since October of 2001. So what an education it has been for me to live in this biological format. And I am here in order to educate and give to others information in terms of your chakras or your non-physical energy presence that is made of time and how that relates to the rest of the cosmos, the shape of the rest of the cosmos, and to give to you the flying rainbow lasagna, which is a new shape that has been invented by me and which you can apply to your non-physical energy centers. So brief pause and then we will really get started here. So the genesis for this particular recording is all about a conversation that I participated in online where someone was promoting the idea that one should get rid of one's chakras, or that one should not have chakras, or that one should bypass the information and kind of discard it and throw it in the trash and not listen to or learn about the chakras of your body. So, look, I understand it is wonderful to display and deploy your skepticism because we do live in a time where there's a definite agenda to control your thoughts, to limit your consciousness, to limit your awareness, and to disempower you. It is the disempowerment agenda. So it's anything that says you need to buy a special product or participate in a particular club, or that this transformation is only for certain elite people, because it's not. This is quite cosmic and quite universal. So I go into my background of saying that I'm a galactic walk-in in order for you to understand why my information is correct, like why you should even be listening to me. I'm not a person who is sharing information that I've simply read from other people or in other books or in holy writings or anything like that. I literally share the information that I perceive directly with my inner vision. So I see these shapes and these forms and energy as it is flowing, and then that's abstract information. It is empirical. It's coming through my human filter. And my human filter happens to include the training of the previous occupant who was an artist and went to art school. And so when this abstract truth comes through this human female filter, I see it as drawings and paintings. And I create it as, drawings, paintings, and sculptures and animations in order to uplift and inform and empower humanity. So here's where I have to make a distinction between myself and those oppressors of human consciousness whom have been here for a very long time. So I came here in 2001, and this is why I say, yes, deploy your skepticism. It is good because there are oppressors of consciousness, beings who set themselves up to rule over humanity thousands of years ago. They're like slightly older kids on the playground who, set up their own private club, and they now oppress all of the preschoolers and all of the kindergartners. But these people that are on the playground of the cosmos, they're really only like first or second graders. But what a world of difference it is between being a preschooler who's just barely out of diapers and just barely entering, the world of formal education and society and interacting with other people, and let's say a second grader, someone who's been on the scene for 3 or 4 years, who knows the ropes, who knows the structure, who knows how to work the system. These are the oppressors of humanity. So these oppressors of humanity have been trying to keep humans ignorant and unaware of their energetic anatomy for a very long time. Information about things such as your pineal gland and the connection of that is a piece of your physical anatomy that we can point to, or we can dissect from your brain after your physical presence is dead. We can see your pineal gland, and your pineal gland emits the presence, the energy structure that is your third eye, or the chakra that is your brow chakra. And when you die, when you no longer have energy flowing through your body, we cannot dissect your body and show you or anyone else your chakra of your third eye. It's gone. It's not there anymore. It's like your personality or your voice or your artistry or your music. It's gone when you are gone. However, these organs or these apparati, these are very real things that function on your body. So the basic premise that this person in an online conversation was saying, that they felt that information about the chakras was nothing more than another system for oppressing and limiting and controlling human consciousness, and that they just wanted to trash the whole system. And I feel that that is very, very unwise. Brief pause. So I feel it is very, very unwise, because knowledge is power. This is not about saying you have to conform to this particular system, and if you don't do it there's a right way, there's a wrong way. If you don't do it this way, then you're out of the club. It's not like that at all. This is much more analogous to hundreds of years ago, when women were kept in the dark as to their reproductive organs and the structure of reproduction in their own bodies. So for a long time, women were not informed of the fact that they have a uterus. That is where human life gestates. That's where it's coming from. That they have a monthly cycle of fertility, that sexual expression during certain parts of that monthly cycle will lead to conception and will generate a new human life. I know it's hard to imagine in our present day and age that women had to live like that, but women were intentionally disempowered. They were kept literally in the dark during the Dark Ages, so that they didn't know, wait a minute, if I don't want to get pregnant, I shouldn't have sexual intercourse at this time of the month. And if I do want to get pregnant, then I should have sex at this time of the month. And not only were women kept ignorant of their own their own physical anatomy, but they were disempowered in their social context. Even if they did know about when they would be able to conceive or not to conceive, they did not have the social power to say to their husbands or male partners or mates, no thank you, I do not want to conceive, I do not want to have a baby right now. Their male partners dictated to them when they would have sex and when they would conceive. So all of this relates right now to you as a naive, like a little preschooler, a newbie. A woman has a procreative and reproductive and creative energy source inside of themselves. This is not just females. Each one of us, humans with a physical body, has access to creative life force energy. And this is how reality is created. You are not just a victim. You are not just a doormat. You're not here as an experiencer of events. You are here as a divine miniature co-creator of events. That means that your creative energy, your mind, your imagination, that which emanates from your pineal gland, is the paintbrush of reality, and you are using that in order to create the world around you. Science recognizes this as observership. The idea of Schrodinger's box, or the double slit experiment, or the idea that those experiments show human observership affects reality. And that's just little old science. Science is very disempowering. This is why I understand that many people want to throw away systems of analysis and systems, because things like science and religion in this time and place are very disempowering. They are limited belief systems or limited aspects of information that don't show you everything. So I'm giving you context here. I'm a walk-in. I'm an abstraction. I came from an abstract realm is the best way to say it, but not a realm of hard-edged objects like the world that we see around us and perceive with our five senses. a world of color, line, shape, form, movement, texture, and tone. So the information that I share in my artwork, and also when I came here as Aurora, I made a choice. I could have changed careers. I could have changed identity structures, like what I identify as. I could have chosen to be a scientist, because I said to myself, what are the professions in this time and place where people share new concepts and new information? And scientist is certainly one profession where people do that. However, in order to share new information, you have to, as a scientist, be accepted by your peer group. You have to share it in context. And I understood that the context of science as a belief system is flawed. And I'm like a computer programmer that looks at a computer program and says, where's the flaw in the program? Let's write a patch code to fix this up. And it's the type of thing that might not be popular. It might be more popular for people to continue to run a flawed software program than for everybody to deploy the patch code that actually fixes it. So I intentionally chose to be an artist, because artists in this time and place get to be iconoclasts, or beings that break systems or bring in completely new ideas and new ideologies. It is considered appropriate. So I do not need permission from all of the other artists that are here on Earth to paint a painting. Don't need their permission. It doesn't have to be accepted by all of the other artists where they look at it and they say, yes, we all agree, that is art, it is allowed to exist. Luckily, that type of system does not exist in the art world. So I chose art as a way for me to share this information. However, when you look at my artwork, please understand, I'm not just making this up. How very flattering. When people enter my studio and they look and they think, wow, Aurora just invented all of this. No, I laugh. Ah, ha, ha, how nice that you think that I'm that good that I could invent all of this. It's like giving me the credit for inventing cell structure and DNA and photosynthesis and, evaporation and the cycle of water and the cycle of life. Like, I didn't invent those things either. I perceive them and I see them as part of the world. So there is this vibratory language of color, line, shape, form, movement, texture, and tone meaning la, like a musical note, that this is the language, the pattern of energy as it is flowing in the cosmos. And becoming aware of that language is empowering. This is not disempowering, this is empowering. So if I were to use music as an example, and brief pause here. Brief pause. I do these brief pauses so I save my work. If we were to use music as an example, one can be a genius who is self-taught and who does not read music, so you're not musically literate, and your music is still as valid as a person that, went to conservatory and learned how to read music and, expresses themselves in that way. No, one is not more valid than the other. However, if everybody is given a musical score to read from, the people who are musically literate have a leg up, they have an advantage over people who are not musically literate. People who can read the notes that are written on the paper can tell, oh, I know what's coming up next. This is going to be an A flat. Then this is going to be a D. Then this is going to be a C. And they have the advantage of being able to anticipate and participate according to that structure that's laid out there. So a person who can be a really awesome jazz musician who's really great at innovating would be at a slight disadvantage if they were not musically literate and everyone else was working from a musical score. Well, guess what? The cosmos is working from a musical score. This is a beautiful, complex symphony that was written by a great composer who's even more impressively inspired, a more impressive genius than even Mozart or Bach. And it's an incredibly complex piece of music that spans across eons of time, across many generations, across many different possible timelines as timelines change and shift. So we must understand that's the level of complexity that we are dealing with here. When I teach people about the chakras, about the harmonic, proportional size and shape and arrangements of the waveforms that make up your non-physical body, I'm teaching you to be, quote unquote, musically literate in the symphony of the cosmos. When you learn these higher dimensional patterns, it is not disempowering, it is empowering. It allows you to understand and be on the same page as the rest of the highly trained musicians that went to the conservatory and learned all about, basically what we call music. If I were at my piano, I'd play a little ditty, is harmonically arranged waveforms. And these harmonically arranged waveforms, humans hear them with their cochlea in their ears and they say, this is music. However, maybe if you were a dog, you might perceive the symphony as an olfactory symphony, because dogs are so much more sophisticated in the realm of smell than humans are. Or if you were a rock shrimps have a visual perception. Their frequency range is much greater than the little tiny band of frequencies that humans can perceive as the visual spectrum. So if it were from the perspective of a rock shrimp, there would be colors that you could not even imagine due to your, human neurology and the limitations of your human biology. But you as a human are submerged within a sea of time, or within an ocean of consciousness. So when I'm speaking now allegorically about music and being musically literate and being able to anticipate the note that is going to be played next, what we're really speaking about is time and events. And without your higher faculties, which are all of the energy centers or chakras that are at the level of your heart and above. So unconditional love is the level of your heart, and on top of there is truth or communication, and on top of there is your brow, which is the level of insight, and on top of there is your crown, which is the connection to higher consciousness and the divine. And when you are a full spectrum human, brief plug, take my class, Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans, where you learn all about your energetic anatomy in startling detail and how to transform it into the shape of a flying rainbow lasagna. When you become a full spectrum human, you activate your higher faculties. You save enough energy in your energy banks, just like saving enough cash in your piggy bank, to be able to use that energy with your insight, with the chakra that is emanated by your pineal gland, to be able to use your life force energy through that aperture to both perceive time. This would be like reading the musical score of the cosmos, and to play the right notes. And your notes are your thought structure and your actions and your beliefs and what you do, and the instrument is your body. So you are a musician in this cosmic symphony. And the instrument that you play is your body. And your body is not just your physical body, it is also your consciousness, your emotions, every level of your being, okay? So this whole broadcast today, this is all about the necessity of having chakras and being aware of them. Even if you are a woman, even if you're not aware of your internal organs, you still have them. You still have a uterus and ovaries and a hormonal cycle. So this goes back to, again, the Dark Ages analogy, that women of that time did not know what their internal organs of reproduction were, and they did not know how to use them, and socially they were disempowered from being able to use them. Well, your chakras are your invisible to the physical eye, but perceptible organs of creation or manifestation. Just like a woman uses her ovaries and uterus and vagina to give birth to physical new humans, so too do all humans who are here utilize creative life force energy flowing through the chakras of your body in order to manifest reality. When you look around right now, I'm sitting in my beautiful garden. That's why I'm not on my piano. I'm looking at these beautiful plants that are photosynthesizing here. Understand, whatever you are looking at, that is your child. You are giving birth to the world that you are perceiving. That is profound, because I'm giving birth right now to this perception of a beautiful, peaceful garden. There's literally a dragonfly flying by in front of me as I say these words. It's a sunny, beautiful day with a gentle breeze. This is a beautiful, beautiful creation. Or, if we call it, like, I'm an artist, my paintings are like my children. This is what I create with the paintbrush of my mind. This is what I talk about when I say that information has been suppressed about your own innate creative capacity, so that you don't know how powerful you are as an individual in each moment. There truly is a conspiracy, or a group of beings who are telling you a narrative story that's false. And this lie is that you're just a victim, you're just a doormat. They're billionaires, they own all the money, they own the chessboard and all the pieces on it, and you are nothing and can do nothing. Ha. I laugh at that ridiculous assertion, with my pinky in the air as I'm drinking a cup of tea, clutching my pearls. Ha. No, how ridiculous. Because true power does not derive from how many dollars you have in your bank account. True power has to do with spirit and will and consciousness and awareness. We are talking now about the capacity to create reality. Your creative capacity does not require physical dollars in your physical bank. It does require unconditional love or non-physical energy in your non-physical energy banks. The energy that is required for manifestation is unconditional love, aka life force energy. So this life force energy in the Far East, it is called chi. It is also called prana. This is because the societies of the Far East that we have right now held in trust the information that we all had available to us in the ancient, sophisticated worldwide culture known as Atlantis. Back then, everybody knew about their energetic anatomy. Everybody knew how to utilize their creative energy intentionally. And everybody created beautiful offspring, beautiful children. These are your offspring of your mind, your babies that you make with your mind. And in that time and place, everybody collaborated like a symphony and created beautiful babies. And we had a wonderful, healthy planet and social structure and noosphere. Noosphere, that's Noosphere, that is the collection of all thoughts and ideas that are on the planet at this time. So, when humanity experienced the invasion of consciousness, that was also at the same time as the genetic degradation, your levels of awareness went down and you became less aware of your connection to life force energy and your reproduction. This is just like women who, back in the days of the goddess, like, many thousands of years ago, women did know where babies came from, and they were definitely in control of their reproductive cycles and had their babies when they chose to. I'm speaking about the dark ages of, the 1100s in Europe. That was a time when information about the human reproductive cycle was suppressed in order to oppress the consciousness of women. So, humanity, I'm trying to say to you that you are oppressed like women of the Dark Ages. In that time in human history, women were almost constantly pregnant. If you were of childbearing age, you were almost always impregnated. And there was also such high infant mortality that women would have their child and it would, die of infectious disease or malnutrition or what. It's like, yes, they had many children throughout their lives, but not all of them lived, okay? So this is exactly what humans are experiencing right now. Humans are not in control of their creative consciousness organs. And many humans are creating unintentionally from a place of anxiety. That's literally what anxiety is. Anxiety is when the daily waking human mind, your daily awakened consciousness, your operating system that is known as the human mind, when it is running out of control, and it is thinking about and manifesting all of the things that you do not wish to manifest. So a good example is, my loved one is dead in a ditch. I hope my loved one is not dead in a ditch. I hope my loved one is not dead in a ditch. And your mind keeps thinking these things and keeps thinking about your loved one dead in a ditch. It is the antithesis of what you really want, which is, I want my loved one to be safe and happy and healthy, for their body to be nice and good and unperturbed, and for them to live a long and healthy life. However, that is not, one does not manifest those events when one is constantly thinking about my loved one is dead in a ditch. So there are a lot of people that suffer from anxiety in this time and place. It is the fearful imagination running rampant. And this is how things that we do not wish to experience are manifested. I'll even go further, because that's just on an individual basis. Human consciousness and human manifestation energies are also being collected on a massive scale. So on an individual scale, you as an individual have anxiety and you worry about your loved one dead in a ditch. On a massive scale, energy is being harvested from your collective human consciousness in terms of something like terrorism. Terrorism. Be afraid. Be very afraid. This is energy that is being harvested. And it is mostly done through the unconscious, like through being unaware. But more and more people are becoming aware of this now, so it is harder for the powers that be to do their energy harvesting. But the way that the energy harvesting works is there is a created event, like a intentionally manufactured violent event. And then humans are programmed by saying, this event happened, you were unable to protect yourself from it, it could happen again in the future. And that program is what builds the integument for those events in the future. This is what you have to understand, that your mind, you're not just swimming around in your own private kiddie pool in your own backyard. Your mind is connected to a sea of consciousness. You are a musician playing in a great symphony. If you are indulging in fear, and if you are adding your energy to the fearful manifestations, you are helping to embroider those realities into existence. You are aligning your own consciousness with those events, and you are also giving your energy towards the creation of those events. So each one of us must take total responsibility. This is about being an impeccable warrior of consciousness. And doing this is actually a wonderful thing, because it means that you take full responsibility, and all of the paint that is on your canvas came from your own paintbrush. If the painting is beautiful, you take responsibility for it. I put that paint there. I made that part blue. I painted that part like that. You don't say, oh, that's not my fault. Someone else, spritzed my canvas and paint blobs went there. Or, someone else did this, or this randomly squirted out of the bottle and this blob landed here. I will tell you, both in artwork and in life, things like that happen. However, on my own paintings, when a blob of paint squirts out in the wrong place, I wipe it up or scrape it off with a razor blade. Or if it's, totally irreversible, if it's totally indelible, either paint over it or at the very least acknowledge that it's there and find a way to work it into the design. This is the idea, though, of saying that in your life, you are a divine mini co-creator. You are using your organs of manifestation, just like the ovaries and the uterus are the organs of manifestation. And your organs of manifestation have to do with your heart and your eye of insight and your communication and your connection to the divine or higher consciousness. So all of this information is meant to be empowering and meant to give you greater control as an individual, control over the trajectory of your consciousness. When I speak about this, I usually whip out my interactive whiteboard or paper and pencil. We're on the radio here, so I'm going to ask you to refer to any previous drawings of the time vortex, or if you're completely new to this broadcast, imagine a funnel like what you would use to pour liquid into a jar, upside down with the fat end at the bottom and the pointy end pointing towards the sky. And imagine cutting it in half in a cross section, and now imagine a series of lines that are drawn that begin from the bottom, the fat end, and move upward towards the skinny end. And they terminate on the curved surface of the funnel or vortex shape itself. This is the time vortex. This is what your chakras are shaped like. So I'm not telling you this information in order to put you in some form of a mental prison, to limit you, to make you less empowered than you were, 5 minutes ago. No, completely the opposite. If that were actually my intention, if I came here as a walk-in and I wanted to say, let's keep humanity oppressed, let's not tell them about their chakras or the mathematical proportions of their chakras, or how that relates to time, or how that relates to timelines, or how they can better navigate the time vortex of their life. And let's not tell them about the flying rainbow lasagna, which is how you can dissolve membranes or bring together two formerly divergent realms. No, let's keep all of those things as proprietary secrets to me, and maybe only share them with billionaires who will pay me big money in exchange for these big secrets. Clearly, this is the opposite of what I am doing, where I am bringing as much information as I possibly can and making it as widely available as I can, and affordable or free if possible. This is the whole idea that humans should learn about their energetic anatomy. It is not disempowering to learn that you have creative organs on your body, how they function, and how those functions relate to the rest of the world. It is disempowering to be kept in a state of ignorance about those organs and how they function and how that relates to the rest of the world. So, the time vortex has everything to do with your personal trajectory of consciousness and refining your awareness out of this level of density and towards the next highest level, the next less dense level of reality. This is the process of ascension. Ascension is not just something that happens to very special people, like lone individuals here and there throughout history. Ascension is the inevitability of each one of our lives. I'm trying to say this is the opposite of a special rarefied club where only a certain people get to be members of it. No, the opposite. This is the total inclusion club where everybody gets to be a part of it. You're going to say, Aurora, everybody? Even like Hitler, the worst, most evil murderers get to be ascended masters too? Yes, here's how I will describe, and we'll use Hitler as the example. In the time vortex, the peripheral timelines are distortions. They are like peripheral objects seen on your retina. They are not perceived clearly. They're perceived as like a smear or an indistinct shape or just a movement, but not a clear image of what is actually there. And the timelines of your life that are around the periphery of the time vortex are not the real you. They are not who you are as a core consciousness, who you are when you are severely distorted. So each one of us has the potential to be a divine being, a saint, a holy person that is so loving that we help and heal and give to others and make the world a better place. That's if we get cultivated and we get all of the love and opportunities that we need in order to grow into that person. Just like I could look at a little seed and I could say, this tiny little seed can grow into, a 12-story tall redwood tree. if we give it the right sunlight, the right nutrients, if we give it the right amount of time and the right context, in a forest as opposed to like in a tiny little container where its roots can't really grow and spread. So Hitler has, as part of his innate potential, it is innate, it is like programmed into the shape of each person and who you are. Each one of us has this path of least likelihood that exits the wormhole at the top of the funnel. And Hitler has one of those too. On the timeline that we are most familiar with him, he is a distorted prince where he didn't get the life experiences that he needed in order to cultivate the core values of unconditional love and freedom for everyone as opposed to just serving oneself. His trajectory is still in the process of refinement. However, if that or when that consciousness is refined fully, that being will probably be unrecognizable to you as a person who experienced on this level of reality the distorted mass murderer. But in another level of reality, that same person grew up totally differently, had totally different life experiences, made different life choices, and became cultivated into the best version, the best person. As I said, the most loving healer, a person who didn't take lives but saved lives, a person who helped the earth and helped the planet. That version of Hitler actually exists. So each one of us has the potential in our time vortex to be this incredible, we would call it like victor, to be God. Literally, when you achieve that moment of ascension, you are creating an unbroken circuit of consciousness with the source of consciousness that emanated you, your own persona here in the physical realm, and returning back to the source that emanated you, or the destination now. When you have that moment of realization, you realize, I am God. That is the thought that you think. And to clarify, I say this all the time, you will not think Aurora is God, even though Aurora is God. I think the phrase, I am God. You also think the phrase, I am God. Each one of us thinks that phrase, and that happens at the same time. This is not a linear, a linear experience of time. Because of the folding of the fabric of space-time and consciousness, we all experience this aha moment at the same time. This is like the kindling of a spark in all of our minds. We are each neurons in a large, incredibly large, divine brain. And when we have that moment of ascension where one thinks, I am God, one is joining one's consciousness with the totality of consciousness. So again, I really hope you can sense from everything that I'm saying that my message is one of empowerment of the individual. If I were trying to bring a message of oppression and continued ignorance, it would go something like this. Only a special person outside of yourself can connect you to higher consciousness. If you want to connect to higher consciousness, you have to have an intermediary, such as a God, a deity, a saint, a Jesus, a Jehovah, someone other than you. That is what I would be trying to say to you if I wanted to sell you something. Sell you on the idea of a religion, sell you on a disempowering belief system that puts any kind of a barrier between yourself and divine consciousness. Again, healthy skepticism is good. There are a lot of religions and New Age belief systems that are disempowering, such as ones where they say, I am a channel and I'm channeling Saint so-and-so and this is who's coming through me. That is disempowering. because you are a divine individual in your own body, and you should be channeling nothing more than higher consciousness coming through your own highest, mind, through your own highest consciousness. The saints have already lived and died. They have already ascended. They graduated. They are like grad students. They're already working on their own individual research projects as grad students. They are not returning to class, returning to, the university and teaching here. No, that is not necessary. So all of this on this recording in order to tell you that you have a non-physical energy body that surrounds and interpenetrates your physical body. And your non-physical body is made of time. If you can become aware of time, and if you can become adept at manipulating time, you can be an artist of reality. You can create and structure events that you wish to create and structure. So on the very, the like the lowest common denominator, people would be like, I'm going to imagine $1 million for myself or whatever. But think about this, think this through. Would that really be a divine existence? If you imagined wealth and riches for yourself, but you lived in a social context where everyone else is starving and people are envious and of your abundance and hate you and maybe even target you. So now you've got $1 million, but everyone else is starving. So now you have to hire security guards and live in a gated community and isolate yourself from the rest of the world. And I looked at that scenario and I said, that does not sound like a beautiful painting. I shouldn't mix my metaphors. That does not look like, or I would not envision that as a beautiful painting. I would envision a beautiful reality where everybody has what they need, where I have my own personal abundance, and so do all of my neighbors. And so does Earth. The idea that I would, like, for example, mine some kind of ore out of Earth, even if everyone in society benefited from this, even if we all split up the profits, I would still be benefiting by making a giant scar and, in the surface of Earth and all of the disruption to wildlife and the natural life that's already there. When we start to really paint with the paintbrush of our minds, it's essential to create from a place of unconditional love. So we say, we want to have abundance for ourselves, we want to have abundance for everyone, we want to have abundance for the planet, and we want this to be sustainable. Because if let's say I painted a beautiful painting, but it's a beautiful painting that can only be in existence for 5 years, and then after 5 years all life dies horribly, that is not a good painting to paint, all right? So this is what we are starting to understand, that the system as it has been set up has made it so that certain people are using the paintbrush of their minds to create reality, while everyone else believes in the falsehood that they don't have a paintbrush or they're not allowed to create. This is literally what is going on. The beings that have millions or billions of dollars believe in the narrative structure that they are powerful beings that can imagine and make happen what they want to make happen. And the beings that have $0 in the bank believe in their own disempowerment. And everybody agrees to this. It is like a caste system where you cannot break out of your social stratus, your level of development, and there is no mobility between the different levels. So this is false, because the person that is truly powerful is the person that has imagination and willpower and unconditional love, which is like the gas that makes your vehicle go and move through time. So this again speaks to the others' disempowerment agenda. When we're talking about anybody, like any secret society that does not want everyone to know about their pineal gland, their brow chakra, their imagination, and how that affects reality. Those are the systems of control. And the religion, like the religion and the dogma of the Catholic Christian Church, that is designed to disempower you as an individual. It is designed not only through implanting shame. The emotion of shame is like an energy sink that draws energy away from your chakras. And with the Christian religion, it is focusing on the primary chakra, which is your sexuality and your connection to life force energy. This is what I'm trying to get across to all of you. Your sexuality is where you manifest reality from. And there are so many things that are done to humans in this time and place to reduce the proper functioning of that sexuality and of that primary chakra. So implanting belief systems that involve shame, inhibition of sexuality, circumcision, all of these things are done in order to reduce the proper functioning of that chakra on the body. All right? When you actually begin to be awakened, some of the energy that you feel is sexual in its nature. However, it is not necessarily expressed in partnership. It is expressed in partnership with the divine cosmos, where you are literally in lovemaking with the cosmos, sharing your sexual energy with, we would call it higher dimensional organizational intelligence, and using that in order to create reality. So, Dark Ages analogy. Women didn't know that the act of sexual intercourse led to pregnancy and reproduction. In this time and place, right now, humans don't know about how the act of imagining or daydreaming is literally making love to the cosmos. And anxiety is daydreaming about all the things you don't want to have happen. And if you want to start making the things you want to have happen, you are going to have to start applying your sexual energy and your creative life force consciously to the imaginings that you wish to manifest. To learn to control your minds and your capacity to envision and put your passion into what you envision. That is how human manifestation happens. And it is divine co-creative partnership. And when I say partnership, who are you partnering up with? I do not recommend that you partner up with any occupiers of the interstices, or what would be defined as the lower astral realms. These are like musicians who got kicked out of the symphony. They don't have a body anymore. They don't have an instrument. Your body is your instrument. One would only wish to collaborate with musicians that are actually good musicians. They would have to be higher dimensional beings whom graduated from this level of reality. But when we talk about partnership, this is partnership. This is not about overpowering someone else in any way. So let's use the analogy of sexual politics in the Dark Ages. Back then, in the 1100s, women didn't get to say, "No, thank you, I have a headache. I'm not interested in sexual intercourse tonight." They didn't get to say, "No, I'm fertile tonight. I don't want to have sex because then I'm going to get pregnant." If their husband wanted sex at that time, then they had to give it to them, okay? So that is not the type of partnership that I would advocate anyone having with any type of higher dimensional consciousness. I would say bypass all intermediaries, go for pure abstraction, connect directly with the stellar network, and this must be a partnership that is based in equality, where you, as the owner-operator of the physical body, are respected as an equal in the act of conception and manifestation. There's this whole religious ideal that you're just a lowly sinner. You're just an ego. The sinner thing is Judeo-Christian. The idea of ego, this is like, Hindu and Buddhist from the Far East, that you have to kill your ego. You're just a lowly ego or a lowly sinner. And that it's totally appropriate for you to sublimate your own desires or step aside, like, the idea of being a channel that steps aside and has something else bigger and better act through you. And that is all like false. I'm trying to tell you that's false. You are a valuable person. You have your own ideas, your own approach, and beyond that, you deserve a chance to learn in your own life. You went through the difficulty of actually growing a fetus in a womb and being born. I'm a walk-in. My journey is a little different, but I went through the difficulty of actually getting a body and getting into it and keeping it alive and healthy. That is no small thing to do. That is a very huge accomplishment. And the idea of treating your persona, like the person that drives the car around, as just being like some disposable, inconvenient object with its own agenda is totally wrong, totally false. You were smart enough and wise enough to grow a fetus into a viable form and be in this form and walk around in it for 7, 12, 18, 24, 52 years, however long you've been on Earth. You've learned and you've grown. So you are a valid musician. You should be a contributor. Learning about the chakras and their harmonic proportions is how you get to be a good musician. Brief pause. So if you want to check out the free lesson, there's a couple of free lessons enabled on Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. I'll include the link. It's the one about the chakras. Here's what it's all about. You have harmonically proportioned energy centers on your body. The wavelengths of the energy that flows through these different colors correspond with the light that is emanated from the sun, our nearest star, our nearest connection to the stellar network. You're made of light, and that light is not just physical light that we see with our physical eyeballs. It is light of consciousness. It is the light of awareness or timelines or possibilities and probabilities. The sun and the stellar network don't just emanate photons. They emanate consciousness and possibilities and probabilities. When I speak about the analogy of being an instrument and you're a musician playing in the cosmic symphony, the music is time. The music is and are the events which we are experiencing and participating in. And you're not just a participant. This is the difference. Like some people think that everything is fate, that your life and everything, your life and your death, everything about it is all fated to happen. And the truth is, the time vortex or the raw material of your life is already written. It's like saying that the great musical score is already written. However, you get to choose which portion of the song you are playing. You do not have to inhabit the peripheral timelines. Timelines where you either are born and die almost instantaneously, or where you are distorted from your true presence, or where you are exploring distortions of your behavior and belief system, like distortions such as, I'm just going to kill everyone in order to try to get what I want. Guess what? Each one of us has a lifetime where we try that and find out it really doesn't work. And then you get refined, where you learn you can't just kill everyone. That doesn't work. You're going to have to find a better approach. So we then circulate away from the periphery and towards the center. And when we finally are in alignment with that center, that is when we are living as ascended or ascending masters. We are embodying all of the belief systems, values, the notes on the scale that are the notes of continued consciousness. When you embody those notes, you have earned the right to continue to exist. It's like saying, save that term paper because we edited it and there's no spelling errors and it is perfectly grammatically correct. We are all going through this process of refinement through the time vortex until we are ascended masters. until we have completed the term paper of our life, of our existence at this level, and we get to hand in our work to the great professor, who then checks it off and says, yes, A++, you did a good job, you get to graduate. This is why I say to you, Ascended Masters graduated. They didn't get kicked out of the band. They're still in the band. They're playing at the next level of the conservatory. So beings that occupy the interstices and are in the lower astral realms, these are demons, all right? And demons can sometimes masquerade as saints. They can even believe their own story. They can even believe that they are really Saint so-and-so and that it's appropriate for them to take control of your larynx and send messages to the rest of humanity through your larynx or through your pen or through your typing of your fingers on your computer keyboard. However, that's totally inappropriate. It would be like if Picasso decided that he was going to come back in time or come forward in time and stick himself inside of me and my arm and my paintbrush so that I would start to paint like Picasso. We don't need another Picasso painting. We have hundreds of paintings by Picasso. He's been here. He was an artist. He did his work and then he left. What we need are more paintings by Aurora, because Aurora is here now. So I don't need to have Picasso using my paintbrush and painting with my paintbrush, nor do I need to have any previously existing saint or holy person live through me. I only need to have my own highest, best version of myself live through me. And this is true of all of you. Please claim your existence. Please claim your own highest level of consciousness. Each one of us is a saint and an ascended master, and each one of us connects to the source and the destination of consciousness through that conduit. No intermediaries are necessary. And then you begin to understand that you are in divine co-creative partnership with yourself in the future, with yourself, a much more sophisticated, expanded version or expanded identity, where you're not just this little body, you're also the planet and the stellar network and the entire solar system and the solar system through time and all of the civilizations that have ever arisen and fallen and, arisen again. You're all of that. So validate who you are from your present perspective of being an individuated human in the flesh, and connect to your expanded, dilated identity as a non-fleshy being that is connected to the totality. All of this is your empowerment. All of this is information that helps you to be a better musician here in the symphony. Thank you so much for being with me on this journey.